Imagine waking up tomorrow and opening your phone and every single AI assistant you rely on, every chatbot, every recommendation engine, every smart tool built on artificial intelligence has just been made fundamentally obsolete. Not by a better AI, not by a faster chip, but by something so different, so alien in how it thinks, that comparing it to AI is like comparing a bicycle to a space shuttle. And the company that just proved this is possible is not some unknown startup working in a garage. It is Google, one of the most powerful technology companies in the history of human civilization. And what they just demonstrated in their quantum computing labs in 2026 is not a prototype. It is not a press release. It is a working, documented, verified result that is sending shockwaves through every AI research lab on the planet right now. This is not a prediction about the future. This is a report from the present. And if you're not paying attention to what is happening right now, you are already behind. To understand why Google's latest quantum breakthrough is so significant, you first need to understand just how completely the world has bet on artificial intelligence as the future of computing. We are not talking about a modest investment in a promising technology. We are talking about the single largest coordinated capital deployment in the history of the technology industry. In 2025 alone, the world spent an estimated $580 billion on AI-focused infrastructure. Microsoft committed $80 billion in a single fiscal year just to build more AI computing power. Meta announced plans to spend between $80 billion and $100 billion in 2026. Amazon, Google, and every major hyperscaler on the planet is racing to build the biggest, most powerful AI data centers that money can buy. The global AI market was valued at over $390 billion in 2025, and analysts projected it would cross $800 billion by 2030. Governments from Washington to Beijing have declared artificial intelligence a top national priority and poured tens of billions in public funding into AI research and infrastructure. Entire economies are being restructured around the assumption that AI, running on classical computing hardware, is the technological foundation of the next 50 years. And here is the part that should make every one of those investors deeply uncomfortable. That assumption may have just been proven wrong. If that number just shocked you, hit like and subscribe right now, because what comes next will completely change how you see the future of technology. So what does Google's quantum breakthrough have to do with artificial intelligence? Everything. Here's what actually happened. Google's quantum AI team, working with their Willow quantum processor, demonstrated something that researchers have been theorizing about for over a decade, but nobody expected to see this soon. They ran a series of optimization problems, the exact category of mathematical challenge that forms the backbone of how AI systems learn and make decisions, and their quantum processors solved them at a speed and efficiency level that no classical AI system could match. Not a faster classical system, not a more optimized algorithm, a fundamentally different approach to computation that operates outside the rules that every AI model ever built has been forced to follow. The numbers are genuinely difficult to process. Google's Willow chip completed specific benchmark computations in under 5 minutes that would take the world's most powerful classical supercomputer 10 to the power of 25 years to solve. Read that again. A number so large that the universe, which is only 13.8 billion years old, cannot even come close to it. This is not an incremental improvement. This is a different category of machine operating in a different category of reality. And here's what this means for artificial intelligence specifically. The reason AI requires such enormous amounts of computing power, the reason those $80 billion data centers exist, the reason your electricity bill has gone up 40% since 2021 is because training and running AI models is fundamentally an optimization problem. Finding the best answer among billions of possible answers requires classical computers to check possibilities one by one, or in large parallel batches, burning through electricity at a rate that is now straining power grids across the United States and Europe. Quantum. Computers do not work this way. They evaluate enormous numbers of possibilities simultaneously through a phenomenon called superposition. And when Google demonstrated that their quantum processor could handle the optimization tasks that currently require entire warehouses full of GPU servers, they did not just break a record. They broke the economic argument for building AI the way we have been building it. If what you just heard does not make you want to rethink everything you thought you knew about the next decade of technology, then go back and read that paragraph again, because the implications are enormous. But here is what nobody's telling regular people about this story. The AI boom that has been reshaping the global economy for the past 3 years has not been free. Somebody has been paying for it. And that somebody is you. United States utilities alone are planning $1.4 trillion in spending to supply power to AI data centers. Estimates from major financial institutions suggest that residential consumers could end up absorbing nearly $700 billion of that total through electricity rate hikes passed on by utility companies. Goldman Sachs, has already warned that data center-driven electricity demand will push core inflation higher through 2026, 2027, and 2028. A professor of energy policy at the University of Pennsylvania described the situation plainly by explaining that when a single data center campus consumes more electricity than 100,000 homes, the traditional cost-sharing model breaks down entirely. Ordinary people are subsidizing a technological revolution that is making a small number of companies extraordinarily wealthy, and most of those ordinary people have no idea it is happening. When quantum computing delivers the same or greater capability than AI at a fraction of the energy cost, that will not just be a win for Google and IBM and Microsoft, it will be a genuine financial relief for every household that has been quietly paying higher electricity bills to power someone else's artificial intelligence empire. The global dimension of this story is equally staggering. McKinsey's 2025 Quantum Outlook tracked over $36 billion in public and private investment flowing into quantum technology in a single year. The United States government has declared quantum computing research a top national priority. China has invested an estimated $15 billion in government-funded quantum programs and has made quantum leadership an explicit national goal. The European Union launched a $1 billion quantum flagship program. South Korea, Japan, Canada, and Australia all have national quantum strategies with serious funding behind them. The race to achieve practical quantum computing is not just a competition between tech companies. It is a competition between nations and economies. And the nation that crosses the finish line first will hold an advantage over classical computing rivals that experts compare to the difference between a modern rocket and a horse-drawn cart. That is not a metaphor designed to be dramatic. That is the honest assessment coming from the people who understand both technologies better than anyone else on Earth. The bottom line is this: artificial intelligence is not going away. Classical computers are not disappearing next week. But the foundational assumption that has driven $580 billion in annual investment, restructured global electricity grids, and reshaped the economic ambitions of every major nation on Earth, the assumption that AI running on classical hardware is the permanent future of computing, has just taken its most serious challenge yet. Google did not just break a benchmark. They drew a line between the era we are leaving and the era we are entering. The companies and governments that see that line clearly and begin positioning for what comes next will be the ones that define the next 20 years. The ones that dismiss this as hype and keep pouring capital into classical AI infrastructure without accounting for the quantum disruption already underway are making a bet that history is very likely to judge harshly. What we are watching in real time in 2026 is not a story about computers getting faster. It is a story about the entire foundation of modern technology beginning to shift. And shifts like this do not announce themselves with a warning label. They announce themselves with a single result in a single lab that changes what everyone thought was possible. Google just delivered that result. Make sure you are one of the people who understood what it meant while it was still happening. And if this video helped you see even a piece of that future more clearly, do one simple thing right now. Hit the like button and subscribe to Quantum Pulse, because this story is only getting bigger from here.